Alright, time for part 2 of the Crown Tundra returning Pokemon I'm most excited for. The first video was supposed to be like a top 10, but it got a little long, so consider these the Pokemon I'm extra excited for. And I'm going to be starting off by cheating and just grouping all of the Regis together. And I don't think anyone's going to have a problem with that, because that just means I get to talk about more Pokemon being awesome when we get the DLC. So Regigigas, it deserves to get its own thing, because when you're playing around with that ability and also it getting Protect, there's a lot to talk about there. There's also a lot to talk about these crazy stat lines. 200 defense, 100 special defense, 80 hit points. Always filthy. Also, 100 in an offensive stat, on Registeel's case, gets kind of split up. Now guys, the thing about the Regis that's about to get insane is that we got the Datamine, we know the TRs. Can you guys guess what's going to be happening? We got Regirock. We scroll down. Ooh, that's a little spicy. Now, Regice doesn't get the body press. Makes sense. Registeel does get the body press. So now we have like a million things to talk about, because we have really good stats. We always have just like the classic movesets of these Pokemon, and then they get to do all kinds of crazy things. Like Assault Vest Regirock, Dynamaxing, using Max Quake, getting more special defense. What are you going to do about that? Like, that's pretty absurd. Can also Iron Head. So you can give it +1 defense, +1 special defense. It has an Assault Vest, and then just finish off with like a Max Knuckle or something. Or you can also use Max Rockfall, make it Sandstorm, get even more bonus special defense, and now you're unkillable and you're still doing ridiculous things. Like, you can go Max Rockfall, Iron Head, Drain Punch Max Knuckle, and then you have all that coverage and a Drain Punch and like an Ice Punch or something weird, or whatever else you want to run. So, Dynamax Regirock is something I'm super excited for. It doesn't even have to be Drain Punch. You can also do the Body Press. So it's like Iron Head then becomes a Max Knuckle for your Body Press and also converts into insane damage. The tankiness of this Pokemon just kind of gets beyond absurd. And it's pure rocks. I mean, like, Pokemon are surviving super effective hits, especially now in Dynamax. Like, maybe Weakness Policy Regirock, Weakness Policy any of the Regis, and then some extra boosting on top of it with the Dynamax. Going to be kind of filthy. Regice. I've seen some hilarious sets. I don't really know what makes Regice work. Like, you don't really see it as often as the other Regis, and a lot of the other Regis is kind of like fallen off in modern generations. You know, you see these bad boys a lot back in like Generation 4, Generation 5. Not so much in Generation 6 and 7, because like Megas and all the other gimmicks and just power creep in general. But I mean, I've seen some hilarity from Regice. That what you do, Gravity, Blizzard, and then you wreck. Or Gravity, Zap Cannon, and you wreck. And then you just kind of like do things. Also, an Ice-type Pokemon that just bulky might be needed against Garchomp and Dragonite, all these other incoming Pokemon. So, people know how to run Regice, and yeah, that's going to be a thing. We also have points to the Charge Beam being a level up move, so it's most likely not going to get snapped since there's no other ways of getting it. So I mean, like, Charge Beam makes this Pokemon scary. But what I don't like about Regice is that it doesn't have any sustain, and it doesn't feel to be like as immediately threatening as some of the other ones. And then Registeel, it also has a lot of it at its disposal. You can effectively run it the same as Regirock. But I mean, like, Regirock gets the special defense in Sand. So I think that makes it quite a bit more interesting. However, Stab Steel to just own and dunk on fairies, that's a thing. Either way, I feel like all of these Pokemon, there's probably going to be some weird Regice set that works just as well when you Dynamax it. But I think Regirock is going to be like the real winner out of all of this, because like everything it has, it just gets to do again. It gets an effective power-up punch replacement with the Dynamax, and then it gets more stats on top of it. So Regirock could just be like the big sweet Pokemon out of this. Is Regice going to be like Amnesia, Chesto, Resto, and then it becomes a dedicated special defense tank? It could get away with that. I don't see why not. So, these Pokemon going to be very interesting. I think it's all going to come around how it plays with the Dynamax. Effectively number 4. So it's like we're looking at this on top 10. Number 4, Spiritomb. Honestly, I don't think Spiritomb is going to do anything insane. I just really like Spiritomb. It's one of my favorite Pokemon. Always has been. Is it because of this wacky design? Probably. Is it because of how elusive it was in Generation 4? Probably. But overall, it's like, yeah, Spiritomb is like really cool, and it's a shame that it never really got to do much else. Like, it needed a Mega so it can push its stats. The reason why Spiritomb has these stats, something to deal with lore. Spiritomb seems to be based on a spirit bound to a single place, might also be a Buddhist tradition performed on New Year's Eve in Japan. A bell rung 108 times to chase away the 108 temptations in order to achieve nirvana. So we have like 108 demons being sealed away with the 108 stars of destiny, which is why we see the stats represented as 108 on the defenses. One of the core things about this Pokemon, they can Mega it and they can throw that away. Because like now this Pokemon is limited as an inferior Dusclops, because Eviolite Dusclops is just going to be more filthy. And Eviolite, like Spiritomb and Dusclops existed at the same time. You know, it's like we had Generation 3 with the Dusclops, we have Generation 4 with the Spiritomb, and competitively, Game Freak was making kind of similar Pokemon. They also didn't expect Eviolite in Generation 5, as Dusknoir was introduced in Generation 4, and now we just have filthy Pokemon. Spiritomb, at least it gets the Pain Split, unless the tutor moves come back in full, like Pokemon just don't have access to Pain Split, so being able to breed it, that's good for the Spiritomb. I'm also excited for the Spiritomb raid. I'm excited to just like interact with this Pokemon because I feel like it just works. It makes sense. It's gonna be cool. I don't think there's gonna be like wild Spiritomb spawns, but if there are, I'm kind of down with that as well. So I mean, it's got things, but it doesn't have enough to be like absurd. Like it can Will-O-Wisp, it can stall you out, it can be discount Mega Sableye, but still better than regular Sableye, I guess. Yeah, it's like Will-O-Wisp, Pain Split. So you got some sustain, you got some ways of beating down the opponent, then it doesn't really do much. Like, yeah, I guess Nasty Plot, but then it's really slow and you can still beat up on it. I don't think it benefits from Dynamax. I think it just gets crushed by like other Dynamax Pokemon, hitting it with super effective hit. Well, actually, you don't have to worry about the super effective hits as much, but I mean, it doesn't get a lot. Maybe something busted will come out. If it hasn't happened by now in Generation 8, I don't think it's going to happen. Some weird stuff could happen, but overall, I just really like the theme of this Pokemon. Like, that's cool. That's wicked. I love it. Fight on. But, let's talk about the first bird, Archeops. This is going to get ridiculous. When's the last time you guys took a look at Archeops' stats? Because I always remember that Archeops had good stats, but not good enough stats to justify its ability. However, the Defeatist ability kind of doesn't matter anymore. So, scroll down, Defeatist ability. Halves uses attack and special attack when their hit point is equal or less than half of its maximum. Well, if you Dynamax Archeops, that half now becomes like a full hit points bar. So it can take a hit and then not have Defeatist activate. And the weird thing about the 140 attack on the Archeops is that it's not enough. Tyranitar, for example, has 134. So we're talking about like Rock Stab. Yeah, like you don't get neutral KOs with the Tyranitar that often. Archeops doesn't really find any more. If you have Life Orb on the Archeops, it just puts you closer to your Defeatist. Citrus Berry kind of works, but I mean, it's pretty rare for a 75 hit point, 65 defense Pokemon to either not get one shot or to get perfectly in the range of 50 to 75, and then it's like, oh, Citrus Berry activates perfectly, Defeatist doesn't activate, and then you can Acrobatics, and that's it. On a 140 attacking Pokemon that then doesn't have Life Orb or anything like that. So yeah, Archeops just like never found a way to properly use its stats around its ability. This was also back in the time where it's like 110 speed was good, and Game Freak didn't let you have power with this speed. But now, Dynamax just kind of makes up for all of that. So, you can look at its moveset. No Brave Bird, but imagine Archeops with Brave Bird, no recoil, and then it gets free speed. Max Airstream on Archeops with a Life Orb neutrally KOs things. And then you are losing, like, and then you aren't losing enough health because you're Dynamax to where Defeatist actually matters. So if you just stay ahead of your opponent, it's like, alright, you Airstream, that's a KO. You go for the Rockfall, that's a KO. You can turn that Stone Edge into higher, more reliable damage, that's pretty good. Rock Slide, I don't think it's viable. Because, like, you just need to always be hurting them if you can find the opportunity. I'm just kind of like looking around. So it does have Focus Blast. Use the Focus Blast on like a focus sash Pokemon or one hit point strange survival or like some weirdness. If you can get a max Knuckle into an Airstream, you're absurd. You also have like Shadow Claw potential. Lowers defense, breaks some tank Pokemon. Knockoff is also nasty, so I mean like +1 knockoff. You're already faster than everything. Like I think like the problem is once Dynamax ends, Archeops is going to struggle. So I think it's going to be great in 3v3. You know, Battle Stadium singles, this thing can just like take out 3 Pokemon in the game, call it good. When you get out of that, you start having to worry about Stone Edge accuracy. I'm guessing it's going to be Fly, so you don't really get to do as much with that. Acrobatics doesn't synergize with the Life Orb. And then it's like other weird picks, like Shadow Claw, unless the Super isn't going to be doing anything. Steel Wing, even if it is Super, usually doesn't do anything. And other weirdness. So we're going to have to keep it. Okay, so we got Crunch. Crunch probably better than Shadow Claw. Dragon Claw, it's there for some coverage. So it's going to be strange. We're going to have some weird stuff going on with this Pokemon. Maybe it gets a moveset adjustment. Maybe Defeatist isn't its only ability. Like, we have Hidden Ability Capsule. Is this the excuse to just be like, yo, Archeops, here's your new hidden ability. Here's how you get it. Either way, I think Dynamax is enough to just kind of like remove all the problems this Pokemon has. Lack of damage, gone. Defeatist, gone. 3-hit KO wins, easy. So we got that on the Archeops. Maybe just lacking coverage to get into like those super effective, bulky one-shots that it needs. But it's going to be a strong Pokemon. Number 2, Nidoking. Oh, Nidoking is going to be fun. Because there's a lot of bulk in Pokemon Sword and Shield. And I think Nidoking is going to be very successful at dealing with that bulk. 85 speed. I haven't looked into it too hard. I haven't done the math. I don't know what like 85 speed Pokemon want to do. But I mean like max speed, max attack, Nidoking, probably going to get away with a lot. There's probably also like some kind of weird breakdowns where you just need enough speed to like outspeed 80-something base speed, and then you get a little extra hit point investment. Where you go full wall break, and then you're like Adamant Nature, 100 speed EVs, rest into hit points, you survive a hit, and then you just KO everything because Sheer Force Life Orb is nasty. And also this like Nidoking brings a lot that the game is missing in its own niche. You know what Duraludon really doesn't want? Special ground moves. You know what Nidoking can do? Sheer Force Earth Power. Stab on over 100 attack with a Life Orb. That's disgusting. It also has that rainbow coverage that everyone's so excited about. Stab Fairy, like you break Pokemon. You ruin Pokemon with this, and it's going to be good. So, yeah, you do whatever you want on the coverage. You want that water type move in there? You got it. You want to go Bolt Beam, Sludge Wave, Earth Power? Disgusting. Go for it. Have all the fun in the world, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. That's when we start getting to Pokemon Let's Go. Water Pulse doesn't really do too much else. Aqua Tail. Physical Nidoking. I've never been as big of a fan. Oh yeah, that's right. Did I just say like one? I just said 100 attack. It's you still play off the special and you're still ridiculous. So 85 special attack, and it's still filthy. Like it's still better than the 100 attack. Like Earthquake versus Earth Power with the sheer force and stuff. Gets weird numbers, but Nidoking's still good. Like, heavy physical tanks, they just don't want to deal with these things. And you can really mix it up, and I think Nidoking is a cool Pokemon. A lot of people are excited for it. I think it's going to break down some tanks. And maybe it gets away with some weird stuff. I don't see this Pokemon being, like, heavily Dynamax viable because it gets in the way of sheer force and stuff. I mean, like, yo, you Sludge Wave, and then you get a Max Ooze? Damn. I guess sheer force doesn't matter anymore because you got that damage. Like, if you can remove a lot of the opponent's sweepers, this might be like a finishing way to do it. Even though for the most part you do need Dynamax to get rid of sweepers and then create some other weird dynamics inside the game, but Nidoking will work. Nidoking, definitely viable. That brings me to my number 1 most excited Pokemon, Celesteela. Oh, and I already didn't have the picture ready. I was scrolled down. Celesteela, boys. Probably, I was going to say probably, no. Definitely my favorite Ultra Beast to use. I popped off with this Pokemon. I go with Totemize, Heavy Slam, you get a Beast Boost, game's over. Celesteela, one of my forgotten hard sweep Pokemon. I only used it a couple times. I got bored with it immediately because winning became too easily. Now it gets better. Now, everything about Celesteela just gets absurd because of Dynamax. Like, Beast Boost with Dynamax. You're gaining stats from using a move, and then you're KOing with that move, and then you're gaining more stats on top of it, and that's just a snowball of controlled Moody. And Celesteela has some crazy coverage as well. So, the way I see it, you got Fly, turn that into an Airstream. Like, there was no stab to use. My Celesteela, it was like Autotomize, Heavy Slam, Seed Bomb, and then Earthquake or Flamethrower, depending on what was going on. And that just worked. But now it's like, oh, Celesteela Earthquakes, and it gets tankier. Celesteela uses max Iron Head or Heavy Slam, and then gets tankier. And then just wackiness ensues. And then you can also just do like a grass move and then get scary. Like that Seed Bomb, Pokemon don't want to eat a super effective grass move if that's how it goes. I don't know, just like I think a lot of Celesteela explains itself. Now, Heavy Slam, I know it doesn't work against Dynamax. That doesn't matter. You Dynamax yourself. Or you just don't have Heavy Slam for a couple of turns, and you're still plussing into infinity with a ridiculous stat line. Like, alright, you get +2 speed, pretty hard to touch Celesteela. 61, you don't really consider it, but I mean, it has enough natural stats to where it doesn't matter. Adamant Nature, max attack, put the rest in the speed, get 2 Airstreams. Oh, by the way, that's KOing. There's a Beast Boost, and now everything's a one-shot again. And Heavy Slam, ridiculous, because Celesteela is a broken Pokemon being an Ultra Beast, and it's maxed out on the weight. Good job, Game Freak. You did some crazy stuff, and now Ultra Beast, they're not going to play nice with Dynamax, and it's going to break the game. Unless there's some kind of thing where Ultra Beast can't Dynamax, which might have to happen, they can Dynamax, the game gets flipped up. Like, we thought Ultra Beast existing in regular Pokemon was crazy. Ultra Beast existing in Generation 8 Pokemon. That's where I think we lose what Pokemon's about. Man, imagine. Like, this is its own video. It's Celesteela. It's going to be the coolest one out of this for me, and there's all kinds of things you can do. So we got that, and then honorable mention, Lugia. Lugia is my favorite Pokemon. I think it's worth mentioning because, like, I don't use legendary Pokemon. I don't really care. Like, oh, cool, Lugia came back in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. My favorite Pokemon. Yay, I should be so happy. It's like, I don't need the national Dex. I don't need my favorite Pokemon to be in the Pokemon games to be like, oh, wow, now this is a good Pokemon game. Because I can think rationally, and I'm not a brat. Also, Lugia got a lot of airtime in the anime. Like, Lugia gets a lot of respect elsewhere. All of your Pokemon get respect elsewhere in the franchise. I'm not just about the games. I love everything about Pokemon. I love the other games. I love the manga. I appreciate the TCG, the lore, merchandise, all that good stuff. I don't need Lugia in my game, but it'll be back. And maybe it gets Curse to pick up or something, and now you get easier multi-scale because of the hidden ability capsule. Will I play with it? Probably not. Because I just don't play legendaries. I don't like that format. Especially with all the other legendaries coming back. So, yay. Lugia is always relevant. That's going to be available in the game. Cool. All these other Pokemon? Oh, I'm going to be using Celesteela. Might have to play the Regi Rock because it's dirty. Archeops is going to be interesting. I'm not a Nidoking player, but I can respect it where I see it. And I think that's going to be everything. So yeah, if I made this a one-part video, it's like almost 40 minutes. Like, we're at 32 minutes total, 33 minutes. And if I, like, strung it all together, I'd probably just ramble on a little bit extra on top of it. So there's some things to be excited for, guys. And I haven't even touched all of it with the Crown Tundra. So hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.